I come from a great town of rabbis and scribes. In those days, the scribe was not just to write a Sefer Torah. They were also to write the information of the Torah Shebe'al Peh. Rabbeinu HaKadosh permitted it. Amali, he told me, Rabbi, would you like to live in our town with us? And I'll give you millions. Just come to be with us. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma answered him, אמרתי לו, אם אתה נותן לי כל כסף וזהב ואבנים טובות ומרגליות שבעולם אין אני דר אלא במקום תורה. Listen, for all the wealth in the world, I would never live only in a place of Torah. Very important. This person didn't tell him, Rabbi, please come and live with us. We don't have someone to teach us Torah, and our children, we're worried. We have to have a spiritual guide. No, he didn't say that. The offer was, come and live with us in our town. Be one of us. We like intelligent people, rabbinic people, but you come to be like one of us. So he said, never. I would never leave a place of Torah to come to a place where they're not even offering me the option to teach or to learn. Just come, be with us. We've seen all our lives people who were even on a lower level of spirituality. If they merited coming to a religious neighborhood, slowly everything changed and they became outstanding families in Torah and Yirat Shamayim. The neighborhood has a great impression on a person. Good neighbors, learned and studious neighbors. That's a big example for our children, for us, to be able to be part of such a neighborhood and grow in such a neighborhood. So a person should always be on the look, on the watch out. It's not such a simple thing. And there have to be many considerations taken into place. Like I'm getting questions in the last year or so, many people telling me, I live in America, I want to come to do Aliyah and come to Israel. I don't always encourage them because there are some of them who can come to Israel and assimilate. There's a huge secular segment of Am Israel who totally rebel against the Torah and a very bad influence. And we're not on our guard because when we live abroad, so the fact that the non-Jews around us are living a different lifestyle is not so much going to influence us. We know we're Jewish and we're different. But if we're in Israel and we think we're all the same, if so, we could come here and just forget all our Jewishness and become Israelis, secular Israelis, which is a very big problem. And even to move from one community to another, one has to be very careful that we're going to live among people who have the same mentality, the same interest in Torah and mitzvot, and not to choose a place because the apartments are cheap, or maybe there's other advantages, and the person could be tempted to move, and he's really endangering himself because it's so easy for people to learn from the customs and the ways of people who are not Shomrei Torah mitzvot. We've explained very often when Yaakov was coming home after his sojourn by Lavan Rasha. So when he met up with his brother, he sent him a message, Im Lavan garti ve'hadar ata. I've been living with Lavan for all these years. Now he said the word garti. Garti means I sojourned. But garti, its numerical value and the letters, in fact, are taryag. So Hazal say he sent to Esav, I lived with Lavan for all these years, Taryag mitzvot shamarti. Garti, Taryag mitzvot shamarti. I kept all the 613 commandments, which are hinted at in the word Garti. And then Rashi adds on, V'lo lamadati mima'asav hara'im. I didn't learn from his bad ways. Obviously, if you kept 248 positive commandments and 365 negative commandments, you didn't learn from his bad ways. And what could be further bad ways beyond the 613 commandments? The answer is good character traits. When we live among the nations of the world or among secular people, everything can be different. The way they talk, the way they walk, the way they sit, the way they live their lives. Everything is a show of anti-religious, of anti-God. And people pick on character traits, anger, pride, and all sorts of negative character traits because the neighbors around him live like that. So Yaakov says, I lived with Lavan and his evil family, and I didn't learn from his ways. Not only I didn't change my lifestyle, I keep mitzvot. That's obvious. But even in the way people behave in a country, the behavior modes, character traits, even from that I protected myself not to learn from the ways of Lavan HaArami and kept up my Jewish customs, our Jewish ways, how a rabbi sits, how a rabbi stands, how a rabbi talks, how a rabbi behaves, how much hesed he does, to learn all these things from the good people around us. There's a lot of good examples around us, thank God. But if a person goes to a town or a village or wherever, where there's a lack of respect for Torah, he's endangering himself. The Pasuk says, Ach en yirat Hashem b'makom hazeh b'haraguni. If there's no fear of God in this place, they could kill me. And kill me doesn't only mean physically that they're going to shoot a bullet into his head. But kill him could be also spiritually. There are many people dying spiritual deaths because they pick up all sorts of evil behavior modes and bad character traits from their neighbors. Hashem should always help us to be in the right towns and the right neighborhoods and have the right neighbors and good influences and be able to grow more and more in Torah and mitzvot through the connection with people who their whole lifestyle and their whole outlook in life is to become better and stronger in Torah and mitzvot.